Salutations, Scoob believer. Do you have a dream of becoming an entrepreneur, but don't know where to start or even what to do? Where can I gather information quickly about what's in my zone of genius? Don't worry, Scoob believers. I got you covered. Go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt and check out an amazing set of AI prompts that will give you ideas, information, and articles to help you get across that start line. Once again, go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt to get you started now. Good luck, Scoob believer. This is an Undiscovered Legacy production. Undiscovered Entrepreneur, episode number 48, the solo episode. So instead of fearing inspiration, think about it and actually do it. Implement it. See what happens. You never know. It could actually lead you into something fantastic. Never completely fear inspiration. Inspiration isn't there to hurt you. It's there to help you. So let it help you. Let that inspiration flow. Be who you're supposed to be. Listen to your inspiration. It's trying to tell you something. Don't fear your inspiration. Welcome to the Undiscovered Entrepreneur, the podcast where brand new entrepreneurs come to life and could quite possibly be discovered. Join me, DJ Scoob, and the rest of the Scoob believers as we help these new businesses become a reality. And now, away we go! Hello, Scoob believers, and welcome to another episode of Undiscovered Entrepreneur, and it's me, DJ Scoob, coming at you at whatever device you happen to be listening on. Well, today is definitely going to be a very much different type of podcast. Today we are doing a solo episode. That's right. So it's just you and me and this poor thing I call a brain that I got going on here. So we're going to see what comes out of it. So I think it's really important here to talk about something that kind of came to me not too long ago, and I wanted to share it with everybody in this podcast. So today we're actually going to be talking about classic problems of inspiration. So, when we start getting good feelings about something that's coming to us and we have an idea that just kind of springs out of nowhere, and, that's inspiration, right? We get inspiration from a lot of different places. But some of us, every once in a while, I think all of us have at one point or another had a problem finding inspiration. We actually went looking for inspiration and never found it. A lot of the time, finding inspiration is really something kind of hard to do. We try to look for it. We try to feel it. We look among different things, and we just have a really rough time finding it. So I think sometimes that can be a little bit of a problem. So what do? Well, first of all, if you do find inspiration, don't lose it. Act on that inspiration right away. Do something with it as soon as possible. Write it down on a piece of paper. Use the notes on your phone. Whatever you got to do to be able to capture that inspiration, because sometimes it's really hard to find. So when we got it, we got to keep it. We got to put it somewhere where we're going to always have it with us until we can actually implement it, or we implement it right away, where we do whatever it is that inspires us and just go for it. Not all of us can do that right away because we're busy doing something, or at work, or whatever it is that's going on. We got to have some way to chronicle that inspiration. That way we keep it with us. When you have that inspiration, be proud of that inspiration that you've found, because sometimes it's really hard to actually acquire inspiration. When that happens, it's kind of rough, but when you actually have that inspiration, be proud that you found it. Celebrate yourself that you found that inspiration, and celebrate in the doing of the inspiration. You and your mind will be more apt to find it if you celebrate every time you find some type of inspiration to move things along. So that's really, really important. So where do we actually get inspiration from? That's kind of important to know. Like, where is this coming from? Where can I look for it? So inspiration can come from many, many different types of places. So be open to that inspiration. So you can find inspiration in all kinds of places. Now, me personally, I look to other people in my community I look to other podcasts. I like listening to other podcasts, and sometimes somebody says something in that podcast that makes that light bulb go off. Say, oh yeah, that's something I could do, or I could do something like that, or even I could do something better than that. So keep that inspiration flowing. Other places you can find inspiration. You can go for a walk, look around, take in nature, take in the outside. Can't always be inside, always be open to inspiration, no matter where you go and what you're doing. Don't be closed off to anything. You could get inspiration from your server. You could get inspiration from the janitor. You could get inspiration from anybody. As long as you keep yourself open to inspiration, you will receive that inspiration. Always keep yourself in the position of inspiration. Put yourself in those situations that you know already in your mind that inspire you. So, say, for example, if you go for that walk through the forest or whatever you do on a daily basis that inspires you, you're always keeping yourself in that inspiration. As long as you're putting yourself in the situation that that inspires you, you could always go to that spot again for possible inspiration for other types of things. Something else we always have to be careful of when it comes to inspiration too is that it's not duplication, right? Inspiration versus duplication. So when you're hearing something and something actually inspires you, we got to make sure that we're not just doing the exact same thing that person did or wherever it is that we heard for that inspiration from. We got to be really careful about how that inspiration from whatever source we got it from isn't actually duplication. We're not doing the exact same thing as somebody else is doing because it's not right. That's not inspiration. That's duplication. Inspiration is putting our own spin on it, finding different ways to change it up, maybe make it even a little bit better from where you originally heard it from. But always look out for duplication. When you're inspired to do something, you do it, always kind of look back, maybe even do a little bit of research to make sure you're not accidentally duplicating something else. A good example of that is quotes. Quotes always are inspiration to me. And if I do duplicate a quote, I always make sure that whoever actually said it originally gets the accolades for it. But there's been a couple of times where I said something, it's like, oh, that's really cool. I want to put that down somewhere. And I put it in Google or, somewhere where it's going to do a search. And it's like, oh, somebody said that already. Well, it's good. So I'll just give them the accolades. But something like my tagline, I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today. My son said that. So I'd want to duplicate that. Even though I'm using it as my tagline, I always say that I give him the accolades for saying that. Even though he said it when he was 6 years old. I still, to this day, he's 17 now, say he said that. Same thing for anybody else that's duplicating anything. If it is a duplication, we got to make sure we give the accolades to the right people. That way, I don't know, we don't get in trouble or, they don't come back on us or anything like that. The point is, we got to make sure we have inspiration and not duplication. We can't be afraid to use other people's words to inspire other people. And that's what I'm saying. Make sure, even though we're using somebody else's words, we're giving them the accolades, even though we're using those words to inspire other people. The next part I want to talk about here, what makes it right for us as individuals? What makes that inspiration right for us as people? I mean, how do we know what actually inspires us? When you have that inspiration, you kind of feel it. I mean, I feel it in my chest. I kind of feel a little bit energized. It's like, oh, this is absolutely perfect. I love it. And I always kind of try to feel my inspiration. What do you actually feel when you get inspired? And I think that's what I was talking about earlier is like the inspiration and how it makes you feel energized, happy, excited about implementing this inspiration that you have. You want to get it out to wherever you need to get it out to inspire not just yourself, but other people too. And always keep a record of it. And that's what I was saying in the very beginning. Always keep a record of what actually inspires you as a person. If it inspires you, it's more likely going to inspire other people too. Keep a record of what creates that emotion and that creativity. What kind of sets that catalyst off for you to go do something else that's really fun or important or exciting. What actually that makes you feel? So what actually causes us to have that inspirational moment? What actually makes us feel those feelings? What actually makes us have that aha moment where you can actually use this to inspire other people, to move other people, to create something, whatever it is that actually happens to you when you actually have that moment of inspiration. And it's different for other people. It's always different for me, or it's going to be different for you, but it's always something kind of important that makes us have that inspirational moment. So what can we actually do with that inspiration? How do we relay that inspiration to our audience? And when you have that inspiration, you have an audience like I have with you, we want to use different types of outlets that we have available to us to relay that inspiration. Some people use short form video. Some people use long form video. Some people use podcasts. Some people have newsletters. There's all different ways to be able to get that inspiration out to other people, that creativity out to all kinds of other people. Now, me personally, I like using my podcast. I like using Twitter. I use Twitter a lot. That's pretty much my home at this point. Starting to use TikTok, and there's other ways we can all use. So find the one that works for you. That's the important thing here, is not to just settle on all of them. You can't do all of them all at the same time. It's just way too much. So settle on 2 or 3 ways that you're very efficient at getting your inspiration out to audience, and then use those platforms a little bit more consistently than others. That way you can concentrate on what's important and what you're actually good at. And if you're good at it, other people are going to know it. People will see it. It's not just thrown in there real quick or anything like that. So keep that in mind as we go along here and we find ways to help other people experience our inspirations. And why do we even want to tell other people about our inspirations? I mean, why are we even doing this, And personally, I think that I want to get my inspiration out to other people to inspire other people. And that's one of my main things, especially when I'm doing my podcasts or anything else like that. I want to inspire other people to do something, to make a movement, do something with what they have. Even if they don't have anything, there's something that you can do to inspire other people, and they can do, in turn, inspire other people. And it just goes on and on. So I really think that I like to tell other people about my inspiration, and hopefully to start a chain of other people and being inspired to tell other people, and so on and so on. But that's definitely a question to ask yourself. Why even tell other people about your inspirations? Now, I know some people, they like to keep their inspiration to yourself. Nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I really wish more people would actually get their inspiration out there. And bear in mind, too, that your inspiration may even be in your zone of genius. There might be a reason why you're inspired the way you're inspired. Always take note of that inspiration, because that inspiration may be in your zone of genius. Now, if you're not sure what your zone of genius is, go back to my episode 25 where I explained zone of genius and gave you the 5 questions you should ask yourself about your zone of genius. Boys, know that your inspiration is or could be in your zone of genius. And that's really important to keep track of. So always keep that in mind. So something that kind of struck me as I was putting this episode together is, do some people actually fear inspiration? Yeah, fear inspiration. Why would you actually fear inspiration? Now, I don't know, first of all. I don't know why somebody would be afraid of inspiration. So I kind of came up with some ideas of why somebody would fear inspiration. Sometimes inspiration means change. And change is difficult sometimes. Sometimes inspiration means they have to do some kind of work or chore or something they've come up with that they really don't want to do. And that's okay. That's just a fear. And you all know how I feel about fear. It's false evidence appearing real, right? It's really not a fear. It's just something you don't want to do. So don't be afraid of inspiration. How do we actually deal with the fear of inspiration? That's a good question. How would we actually deal with that? I think just experimenting with the inspiration that you get to see if it's actually something you can do. You have to get over that fear of inspiration and see where it leads you. I always use fear as kind of a pointer, kind of like you fear this, so you need to try this. And sometimes that fear is the inspiration that we need to try. Fearing inspiration is probably the one thing that actually stops us from doing what we really need to do with our lives. So instead of fearing inspiration, think about it and actually do it. Implement it. See what happens. You never know. It could actually lead you into something fantastic. Never completely fear inspiration. Inspiration isn't there to hurt you. It's there to help you. So let it help you. Let that inspiration flow. Be who you're supposed to be. Listen to your inspiration. It's trying to tell you something. Don't fear your inspiration. Inspiration is in all of us. It's what we do with that inspiration that defines us as a creator or just a dreamer. Action and doing it now is the only way that we know if inspiration will become an actual reality. We'll actually see who we are, and not just ourselves, but everyone around us. And that's why I believe in my mantra so deeply. I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today. It all comes together right there. So let's not just be dreamers. Let's be creatives. Let's be creators. Let's all do something with that inspiration and just see what happens. It could be so exciting just to be able to sit back and look at that inspiration turned into something fantastic that we can help other people with. And that's really what it comes down to, is helping other people with our inspirations. So with that, thank you for joining me. I know it's probably going to be a little bit shorter than my normal episodes, but I really wanted to get this solo episode out to you just to see what would happen. I know I don't do solo episodes too often because it is one of my fears. So I'm actually doing this to get over some of my fears. So I really hope you enjoyed my talk about inspiration. Follow your inspiration. It can mean the difference between just dreaming or creating. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Hello there, DJ Scoob here. And I just want to personally say thank you for listening to my program. I really hope you learned something. Tune in 2 weeks to listen to another brand new entrepreneur. And remember, I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today. As a worker of 2 full-time jobs, running a podcast and coaching, every minute counts in my day-to-day. It's hard to be consistent in any of my social medias. And at this point, I cannot hire a social media manager. Pinnacle AI to the rescue! I've been using Pinnacle AI for a couple of weeks now. I'm seeing big improvements in my outreach and consistency in all my social medias. Do you want to save time and increase your productivity too? Go to tuepodcast.net/AI for more information. Save yourself time and grow your brand. Try it now and see what it can do for you.